So welcome to our usability testing session today. I just want to first and foremost thank you for helping out. This session is scheduled to run for approximately 16 minutes, but before we start, I'll explain the setup and how the session works. So what we're doing today is I'm responsible for conducting some customer research for airline websites, and we're trying to identify issues that could be fixed to make websites easier to use. To do that, we're talking to people like you, and based on your feedback, we're hoping to pinpoint areas for improvement. So I'll just explain the setup of the room. I'm going to be asking you some questions and talking you through the tests. We'll have a camera and a microphone there set up for you on the computer. And what I want you to do is to tell me what you're doing when you're doing the tasks. We'll record the session for note-taking purposes, but the footage will not be seen by anyone outside the team. The session will be divided into two parts. First, we will ask you some questions and talk about your experience booking flights in general. And then we'll ask you to perform a few tasks on the Aer Lingus and Ryanair websites and ask you some questions as you go. Does that sound okay?
Okay.
So just a few things to keep in mind. This just helps the test to run smoother. So first, the session is called a usability test, but it's important to know that we're testing the websites, we're not testing you. There are no right or wrong answers, and there are no trick questions, and we're not trying to catch you out in any way. If you do come across any problems, please understand that it's not your fault, it's the fault of the software. And in fact, the more problems you find, the better we can fix them. Secondly, please be as candid as possible. If you don't like something or think it's just plain silly, please say so. You won't hurt my feelings. I haven't been involved in the design of any of these screens. Third, as you navigate around the website, whatever is going through your head, please verbalize it. So for example, if you're about to click on a button, say, I'm going to click here because I think it's going to take me to the next page, or I'm looking around the screen for the price. Basically, we want you to think out loud. It helps us write better notes. Also, if you could approach things slightly slower than you normally would, that would be really helpful. If you work your way around the site too fast, we might not be able to take notes as quickly. I'll remind you to think out loud and to slow down throughout the session. Please feel free to ask any questions you like. It's a great way for us to understand your thoughts. But in order to keep the test as realistic as possible, I may not always be able to answer your questions. So thank you for understanding in advance. Do you have any questions now before we begin?
Nope.
So I'm just going to ask you some background questions first before we begin any tasks. So firstly, what is your occupation?
Student.
Where do you live?
Cork, Ireland.
How would you access the internet on a normal day-to-day?
Google Chrome.
Would you use it on your phone or laptop or desktop?
Phone and laptop.
How would you access the internet normally? Would you have broadband, or do you have
broadband at home or in college or maybe work?
And what kind of apps do you have on your phone?
Social media apps, and maybe sports apps. Okay. News apps would be the main ones.
Would you have any travel apps on your phone, or?
I would have both. I would have the Aer Lingus travel app and the Ryanair travel app on my phone.
Perfect. When you're traveling normally, is it for business or pleasure?
Pleasure.
And how frequently would you fly?
Not so often, maybe once every 2 to 3 years.
How would you normally book your flights?
Online.
Would you use airline websites or aggregator websites? So would you use Ryanair, or would you look on things like Expedia or Skyscanner? Third-party flights.
I would book it off the airline itself.
Right. Can you talk me through the last time you booked a flight? What was the scenario? Where were you travelling to?
I was travelling to Rome, Italy, and
when was this trip?
It was early there, so January 2020.
When did you make the decision to travel?
I made the decision to travel about 4 months previous, so about the September of 2019.
How many people went on this trip?
There was 5.
And did you book the flights directly yourself, or did someone else in the party
someone else in the party booked the flights, but after consultation.
Was that a face-to-face consultation, or were you doing it through apps or through phone calls? Or
It was face to face, but we booked over the internet anyway.
so like on you booked the flights on the website
On
as
the
opposed
website,
to,
as
and was that
opposed
on the
to
computer or on the phone?
on the computer.
On the computer. What was the most important thing for you when you were booking these flights? Was dates or times or price? What was the most
I
important
suppose
factor?
the most important factor would have been the price, because you want to shop around and get the best deal for yourself. That might necessarily be the cheapest deal, but the one that's the most value for money.
Right. And did you end up booking them directly on the airline, or did you use an aggregator website, something like Skyscanner?
Oh, directly on the airline's website.
Okay, so I think from there now we can move on to the tasks. So my first task today, we'll assume the following. You live in Dublin and you're planning a mini break. You think Amsterdam could be the place for you, and you'd like to travel on October, so the bank holiday weekend in October. So your first choice to fly out is the 23rd of October. That's the Friday. And you'd like to return on the 26th of October. Your departure date is flexible, but your return date isn't. You'd preferably like to return on the 26th of October, which is the Monday, the bank holiday. And your trip is for 2 adults. So what we want you to do is, on the Aer Lingus website, book a flight from Dublin to Amsterdam that departs preferably on the Friday, but there is flexibility, and returns on Monday the 26th of October. And the flight is for 2 people. Could you please show me what you would do?
Okay. So I would call into the website.
Just to start there now again, it's actually the Aer Lingus website. That's no problem. So again, for the purpose of this usability test, just to remind you to kind of take things a bit slow and to talk out loud. So you're on the homepage there now. What do you see?
So what first comes up is they want you to confirm your home country and your preferred origin airport. So it already has Ireland and has the English language and has Dublin as the airport. So I'm just going to press confirm.
Perfect.
So the first thing I do is, on the main home screen page of the website, Aer Lingus' website, they have find flights or manage trip check-in flight status. So what I would do is, I'm going to fly from Dublin, so that's already entered in. So I'm going to say I want to go to Amsterdam. And then I'll click on Amsterdam when that comes up on the screen. And then I'll click on departure date. So I want to leave October 23rd. So I'm going to click 23rd of October. And I want to return on the 26th. So I'm going to click on the 26th of October. That's for 2 passengers. So I'm going to say 2 adults.
Just to pause there a sec. When you were typing in your departure and return dates, you had the option of typing in or using the calendar to select your dates, and you chose to use the calendar. Was there any specific reason you were drawn to using the calendar, do you think?
I think it was just because maybe that the September and the October section came up. First of all, I think I would be more likely if I had typed it, if, say, it was further down the line and I wasn't able to, and they weren't just easy to select. I mean, if I was booking a flight for next year, I probably would have wrote in the date rather than wrote in
rather than use the
yeah.
calendar.
And I think as well, maybe because you have, if you have the calendar is good because a lot of the times when you go onto websites like this, there will be times where maybe a flight isn't going out every day, and it might be just maybe they might be flying out 3 times a week, so they often have a kind of blacked
An
out.
indicator.
Yeah, that the flight there's no flights on. We say there might be a flight on the 22nd, the 24th, and the 26th of that month every second day, but there isn't the 23rd. You know, the 25th, 27th kind of carry on. So then I think that's where the calendar it can be quite useful because then you just know you're not wasting your time. Whereas I suppose if you're just searching in, then you could easily click on put in a date that where there's actually no flights.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Just before you continue there as well, the home screen itself, like what do you see? Is there anything that like you're looking at that stands out to you positively or negatively?
I think having a picture at the top of the page with of an airplane in the sky and stuff like that, that's probably it probably gives more of a reassuring image to it. I think as well, there's one thing is that they have COVID-19 travel information, which I think is important to people, and as well they have offers, so and of flights. Whereas even here they have one here. If you look, because I'm supposed to be flying to Amsterdam from Dublin, they have it travel until 25th of March, from €30. So at least then going into the website straight away if it's a popular travel destination, how much roughly you're going to be talking from with the prices.
That's perfect. Yeah, you can continue.
So I'm just going to click on search flights.
Okay, so immediately on the flight selection page, what do you see? What stands out?
So they've given me on Friday, the 23rd of October, they're saying I can fly out from Dublin at 7 and I'll arrive in Amsterdam at 9:40. And then they're saying for the return trip, it will be I'll fly from Amsterdam at 10:20 and arrive in Dublin at 11:05. Obviously given interchange of time. And then there'll be the prices that they're indicating. So they're saying that it will be from economy will be from $339.99 on the way out from Dublin to Amsterdam, and then to fly home from Amsterdam to Dublin, they're saying economy will be $536.99.
Okay, that's perfect. So on this page here, it's quite clear to you. Is there any like information immediately that you can see that you're looking for, or any information that you think is unnecessary?
Well, the one thing I probably would say is if you didn't know how to navigate an airline website straight away, I think one thing you maybe would have a fault, but especially maybe if you were an older person and you were trying to book flights or someone who wasn't technologically savvy, there's no indication where you would select on such flight. I think if maybe you were used to using technology, you would click on it to indicate that that's your purchase, but I don't think that you would necessarily know straight away. I mean, looking at it, you wouldn't say to yourself, oh, you would think to yourself, okay, they're giving me the information or when the flights, but how do I actually book it? How do I click on the flights?
Perfect. But you're saying that for some people it might be confusing, but you know how to click.
I know how to do it, but I could understand, like, I could understand if maybe an older person or someone who'd never booked a flight before would be on this page going, well, how do I proceed?
Yeah, that's perfect. You can actually proceed. So can you talk me through?
So I've selected that I would fly out from. I've selected to click on it to book the flight. So after clicking to select the flight, what comes up is there's a pop-up comes up, and then it tells you what privileges you get by selecting or booking such a flight. So they're telling me that I can bring a 10 kg carry-on bag, a 10 or 20 kg checked bag, front row with middle seat free and dedicated storage, priority boarding, standby for earlier flights, lounge access, fast track security, no change fee. So the fare difference applies, and I'm eligible for a refund for less fees.
Do you find this pop-up clear?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty clear. I suppose I think if you've booked the flight before, you would see it as maybe just a standard. And I think yeah, it's pretty clear. Even if you hadn't booked the flight before, I wouldn't say this was anything unusual. Like that would be just like if you were buying anything online, it's nearly the terms and conditions of the purchase.
Would you have been expecting more options, or like are you happy with the options that are provided to you?
I would be happy with the options that have been provided to me. I mean, 10 kg carry-on bag and the 20 kg checked bag, they would be the main things I think people would be looking for. And as well maybe the priority boarding and the seats. I suppose selecting a seat that hasn't been like you can be allocated that yet. I don't know, that might be in the next screen or something like that. I think that would be a thing for me that I would think about, because I don't know, just where you're sitting on the plane, like I would probably like to sit on the aisle seat as opposed to the middle of the window seat. Now that might be an option in the next one, but I'm not so sure.
That's perfect. You can proceed.
So then I have to go down to the next flight and the one from Amsterdam to Dublin, and basically it's the same terms and conditions again with the bags and the priority boarding and the standby for earlier flights. So then if I scroll back up and I click,
You scrolled down to your return flight before selecting. Was that just to read the two offers, the two packages against each other, or was it evident to you how to select the package?
what I would say is again with selecting to actually select the flight to open up with packages, it's not entirely evident or obvious where you would click on. It doesn't say on the screen select here, which I think maybe people might find confusing. But I think because I have went in and looked at flights before, I've booked flights that I would know how to navigate it in general. And I suppose if you're just used to buying stuff online and using the internet, you would know how to navigate it pretty easily. But then not everybody is probably would have that kind of knowledge. So and I suppose, yeah, I went down to click on it again, the one below, before selecting the top one again, because I just wanted to compare the packages to make sure that they were both the right. Because I mean, I wouldn't want to bring a 20 kg bag with me over there and not be able to bring it home.
Yeah, that's perfect. You can proceed.
So after selecting both the flights, after reading the terms and conditions, and what I will get by booking the flight, it then brings you into a screen where it says if you're still deciding, you can lock your fare for 24 hours for €20. I mean, I suppose that's a good option if you're not too sure or whatever, but I wouldn't know how many people that would decide on that. And then
Do you think this is a good offer from the airline?
I suppose it is. I suppose maybe it's probably a better offer if you're trying to maybe if you have to leave the country fast for some reason, some like an emergency or a business meeting or something. Um, but I suppose if it's for recreational reasons, maybe that I suppose you'd have that planned more in advance. But yeah, I can see why someone would avail up the option. But I'd say it's probably more for business or emergency reasons.
Can you take me through your understanding again, sorry to go back, of what actually they're offering?
So they're
The
offering
lock with the lock your price.
with the lock your price. So they're saying that um they lock they basically I could book the flights for the next 24 hours for €20 and nobody else can purchase those flights because I already have them locked in. But if I don't then pay the rest of the fees within the 24-hour time frame, um, the flights become available to the public again and anyone could purchase them.
And do you think that information, um, like what it's actually offering, is evident from the
Yeah,
top of advert
I
to
think
it?
that would be pretty evident to me. I mean, maybe some people might say that what are they on about for saying lock your fare, but I think it's pretty evident. I mean, they even have a thing here that says price lock flights. I mean, I would say that that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's great. So you can proceed.
Okay, so this is probably easier now because it gives you a little button to click on, um, where it says continue. Unlike with the when you're selecting the flights, it doesn't actually say select. You just have to click on the flight.
Okay, so passenger information is actually where we're going to end task one. But before we move on to the second task, I'd just like to ask you a few questions. So, first of all, overall, what did you think of your experience on the Aer Lingus website today?
I thought it was pretty good. I would give it about a 9 out of 10. I think it's pretty straightforward. I think that the fact that you could go onto the homepage and you can book flights from there, that you're not clicking on tabs and you're not scrolling down to see where you can enter information to find the flight quick. I think people want to get on. They want to be able to book the flights easy and they want to be able to book them quick. They want to be able to look stuff up, see how much the prices are. I think the pricing's pretty evident. My only thing would be going back to the fact that when you actually go to click on the flight to book them, it doesn't say select anywhere. You just have to click on the flight. I think that might be obvious to a lot of people who are used to booking flights or are used to working with technology on a day-to-day basis. I think someone who would be a newbie to the internet or wouldn't be on the internet that much or has never booked a flight before wouldn't necessarily know that.
Was there anything that you expected to see but did not see?
Um, no, not really. I think the main thing when you're looking to book a flight would be the prices and what they're offering you by booking the flight. I suppose there's one thing maybe I thought that there might be more options to book the flight. So maybe like in other dates and times, but obviously that's up to they maybe they only do one flight a day or certain flights. But that was probably it. I just know from my experience before that there is other you could book a different flight on the same day, but they didn't seem to give it the option here.
Was there anything that you seen that you were surprised to see?
So I was surprised to see the fact that you could lock the flight for 24 hours and nobody else could purchase them flights for €20. It's the first time I've actually seen that. Maybe I've just went by it before and never thought of it or just didn't see it or anything like that, but I was surprised to see that.
What did you think of that surprise?
I think it's good. I mean, I can see why someone would avail the option, but I wouldn't think it wouldn't necessarily be something maybe I would be interested in.
You've kind of hit on this question already, but is there anything that you particularly liked or particularly disliked about the process?
Um, I wouldn't say there's anything. I'd say I thought the process was easy. I wouldn't say there's anything I particularly disliked about the process. Um, I think it's pretty straightforward. In terms of something that I liked would probably be the fact that you could reserve or lock in your fare for 24 hours. But to be honest, that's basically it. Yeah.
That's great. So we'll actually move on now to the second task. So the second task is basically the same thing, but we're going to use the Ryanair website. So you'll be taking a trip with Ryanair. You'll be going from Dublin to Amsterdam. You'll fly out, preferably on the 23rd of October, the Friday. But again, you have flexibility, but you would like to return home on Monday the 26th, as that is the bank holiday weekend, and the trip again is for 2 people. So you can show me there now how you'd proceed.
So I'll open a new tab and I'm going to exit the last one, and then I'll search up Ryanair's website.
So you've arrived on the homepage there. Now can you tell me what you see?
So straight away I see, kind of comparing it to Aer Lingus' website, they have a section where you can go in straight away and book. And what would be different is the fact that on the Aer Lingus one they gave you the option to put the date straight away. That came up. Now this just seems to be giving you the option to choose your destination straight away. And then would be if they have the fact that they have some promotions and then some deals down here that you can click on, and then maybe they're like, we say their sister website, so the people that they have packages with, like hotels and stuff. And down the end then they have some pictures of where you can go with some of their flights.
So you can
which I think is kind of nice.
Oh, so you can show me now how you'd proceed on the Ryanair website.
So what I would do is so they have an option here for a return trip or one way. So I'm doing a return trip. So what I would do is I'd click on the destination.
So what do you see now straight away?
So straight away what pops up is the countries where you can fly to. Now they have, what they have here is the list of countries. And I'm assuming that they have flights to all these, and then there's some of them that they're kind of discolored and some of them are colored in black. I'm assuming the discolored ones would mean that they don't have flights to that country at this minute, and then the colored ones is that they do have flights available coming from Dublin Airport to these flights. And then down the right hand side they have an option where you can just click on a specific airport to go to, which I think is kind of nice, maybe because it might save someone time, because obviously, like, even here you can see straight away they have Barcelona, Girona, and Barcelona Rue. So that's already 3 different airports in Barcelona that you can click on, and there might be a specific airport that you want to travel to rather than just any airport.
That's great. You can proceed.
So I'm going to go for Amsterdam. So I'm going to click for the Netherlands. And then when I click on the Netherlands, the airport side, then you lose the rest of the airports, and what comes up is just the airports that they fly to in Amsterdam. So they have either or in the Netherlands. So they have Amsterdam at Eindhoven. So I'm going to click on Amsterdam.
Is there a reason that you chose to use the list as opposed to typing in your return airport?
I suppose I just used it because it was probably convenient. I think if maybe the list was longer, you would think, oh, you would probably, there'd be a chance you would type it up. I think maybe if you were on your phone and it was an app where the screen is smaller and you get less options fast, you might have to scroll. I think then you might be more likely to type in the name of the place you're flying to. But the fact that I could clearly see Amsterdam when I clicked into the page, or the Netherlands, as my options, I clicked on it straight away.
That's great. You can proceed.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick the flights I want to go to. So like with the Aer Lingus website, I'm going to use the calendar to select my flights. So I'm flying out Friday, October 23rd, and I want to come home the 26th of October.
Again, is there any reason here why you decided to use the calendar over typing in?
I just think it's convenience, really. I think maybe again, like if it was further down the line, I would probably might be more likely to type in the date. But the fact that it was just there straight away, I didn't really have to do that. Being that we're in September and then the month is October, is just the next month.
Yeah, perfect. You can proceed.
So straight away it'll bring you on to how many passengers. So I'm going to click for 2 adults. And
At the same thing here now again, you decided to use the plus and minus icons as opposed to typing in.
yeah,
Why did you decide to use the icons, and what do you make of this pop-up?
I think it's nice that it, like, after you confirm the dates, that you're brought straight into the passenger section. How many passengers are traveling? I don't think, if I'm right, that didn't happen on the Aer Lingus website. You actually had to move the mouse and click over. I think maybe
So
I
you
just
were automatically moved
yeah
to the next
to the
box.
next screen. I think that's probably better than maybe you having to go do it yourself. Again, like on the Aer Lingus website, I found that maybe that they weren't clear enough, maybe how to proceed ahead. Whereas this is almost like bringing you ahead. And then I think I just pressed plus, really, because convenience. I think maybe if you like to say, maybe if you were booking a flight for a couple of people, we say maybe it could even be 10 people or something. I think then you'd be more likely to write in 10 rather than have to click the mouse 10 times.
Yeah, that's great. So you can proceed.
So now I'm going to click on the search thing. So they're asking me here now first that by clicking search you agree to the terms and conditions, and I have to tick that box. And then obviously they have this, so if you click here, it brings you into a link where it says terms of use, because it's underlined and it's in white bold.
So you've just landed on Ryanair's flight selection page. Can you talk me through what you see, what stands out?
So straight away there's like an ad above saying buy one get one free. I assume that's just an ad. It says buy flight and second passenger flight free. It says promotion is only available if value fare is selected, and the offer is on the 6th or at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. on September 25th. Terms and conditions apply. So I think that's different maybe to what Aer Lingus was. There wasn't an ad straight away when you came into it. So then as you scroll down, what it has here is it gives you the options of your flights. So it's telling me that on Friday I can fly to Amsterdam from Dublin for $77.99, and the flight leaves at 7 o'clock in the evening. I'll arrive in Amsterdam at 9:40 in the evening, and the duration will be an hour and 40 minutes. And then it's and then if I want to select such a flight, I have to, kind of like with the Aer Lingus website, you have to click on the flight, and then, which again maybe it wouldn't be clear for some people. Then it brings you into the different packages they have. Now, unlike the Aer Lingus website, it seems to only give you economy, whereas this is giving me 4 different packages now that I can choose from. And then the one I'm currently on is value fare, and that gives me the option of one small bag only, and it must fit under the seat, and it gives me the diameters of the bag. And then you can click on regular, for that's 24 or more, and the price goes up with the amount of stuff you get in your package. So that gives me priority boarding, the regular option, and 2 cabin bags, so a 10 kg cabin bag and a reserved seat. And then there's the plus option that includes a 20 kg check-in bag, and what you get in the regular selection. And then there's free check-in at the airport. And then there's the Flexi Plus option that's for $83.99 more. And then you get priority and 2 cabin bags, reserve any seat, fast track through security, free check-in, and flexible tickets. So I think maybe if you, depending on how many days you were going for, first of all, I would say if it's a short, like it says here, for regular, I think that would probably be the one that I would choose, because it's a clear indication of how many bags you can bring. Again, it gives you priority boarding, and you can reserve the seat, which they would be the things that I would be most that I would be looking for most if I was booking a flight. And then but then I suppose if you're going for something longer, you might choose the Flexi Plus, just because you can bring a bigger bag with you, and this free check-in at the airport and stuff. Especially maybe if you were in a rush, the free check-in at the airport, or even flexible tickets. Maybe if you were going and leaving on business and you weren't sure what time you could really leave the office, or if you were traveling with children,
That's great, you can proceed.
So I'm just going to continue on the value fare. And then it would bring me to the return flight home, and then they're saying that's from $55.99. And they're also saying the first one is in the buy one get one free ad that I looked at a while ago when I first came onto the screen. And then they're telling me I'll fly out from Amsterdam at 10:40 in the morning, and I'll arrive in Dublin at 11:20. Duration of flight will be around 40 minutes. And then they'll give me another option of flying home from Amsterdam at 9:45 in the evening, and I'll arrive in Dublin at 10:25. And again, the duration of flight's around 40 minutes. And then that's depending on the 2 flights is a different price. So they're saying that the earlier flight is $55.99 and the later flight is $65.99.
That's great, you can proceed.
So I'm going to click on, we'll say, the earlier flight, because I'm going to try to get home as soon as possible. So again, like with the other thing, you get the choice of value, regular, plus, or flexi plus. And I suppose what's good is maybe on the flight home you might buy some stuff over there. So maybe you want to upgrade to a different to a different selection when flying home, because you might buy a bag over there and fill it up with stuff. And then obviously maybe if you're Flexi Plus, the tickets are flexible, so maybe if you want to stay over there extra night when you get over there, but that wouldn't be the case with me. So again, I'm just going to choose the value fare and click on it. And now that I've clicked on that, so they're saying to me that they're giving me the price. It's saying that altogether, through the value fare options, it's going to come to $133.98, and they're saying that it has been applied to my basket. Down there now it's saying that I have to log into my Ryanair to proceed with my booking, and it's saying I can sign up or I can log in, and then or else it's giving me the option to log in later. So I suppose if you had booked Ryanair before, you press log in, and if you haven't, you press on sign up.
Yeah, that's perfect. So again, we'll stop here now before you enter the passenger details. So that concludes our second task. I'd just again like to ask you a few conclusion questions. So again, overall, what did you make of your experience on the Ryanair website?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty easy, simple to use, kind of like the Aer Lingus website. Because if you've booked flights before, you would be used to using it. Again, it's maybe when you click into the flight, wouldn't be that clear for someone who hasn't booked flights before, where you would select the flights. And and I suppose it gave me the option, two different options of a return flight on the way home, and then the options of the packages were better than maybe what the Aer Lingus were offering. So yeah.
So, was there anything that you expected to see but did not see during your process on Ryanair today?
No, I think again, like with the Aer Lingus website, the main thing that I'm looking for is the price, and um, like it's pretty straightforward again. You know, no, there wouldn't be anything really that I expected that I would have expected that I didn't see.
Was there anything that you were surprised to see?
I was surprised to see compared to maybe the Aer Lingus website, the packages that they had available, compared to the Aer Lingus website, which only really gave me one option, economy, whereas this gave me four different options of packages, which I think is, I mean, it might be better value for money depending on what you're flying for. Um, that would be basically it.
Was there anything that you particularly liked or particularly disliked about the process overall?
Um, Again, maybe like with the Aer Lingus website, it's not when you click into the flights, when you're going into actually, or it's giving you the information when you're flying out from, it's not really clear where to click on. And I think that might be a bit more confusing given the fact that unlike with the Aer Lingus flights, I just got one flight or one flight option for the return flight and the tow flight. But but again, like with today, then the departure flight, I got one option, and then with the return flight, I got two. So I think maybe that like that even might be a bit more confusing if they don't have like really label like select tear or something for a tab or a button on the website. But that would be basically it, I think. So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's perfect. So that's going to conclude our usability testing for today. Thank you very much for your time.